Who remembers the BJ and Bill show all those years ago on WOLZ? Well, many have said they missed the show, and guess what? They're back. Welcome to the BJ and Bill podcast.
Welcome to BJ and Bill, the podcast, episode 37. Yes, we want you to give us a 5-star review if you would. It'd be so nice of you. Plus, we're on, you can do that on Apple, Spotify, anywhere where you get your podcast. And we are just a part of the Podcast Playground Network.
Awesome. The Podcast Playground, by the way. There's a THE in there. We have to be specific with this, like it's BJ and Bill or the Podcast Playground, because there's imitators out there, often imitated, never copied. What is that old advertising slogan? Whatever.
Awful. Now awesome. You got me thinking.
I don't know. Never mind. So how are you?
Good, but you are in an undisclosed location, which I think about you'll maybe disclose.
I probably will. So yes, I'm hanging out. I'm hanging out in the basement, which is not really a basement because it's on the side of the mountain. So the sunshine is streaming in the back door of our old friend, Vicki and Rick Wagner, her husband, and their wonderful, beautiful cabin in the mountains of Blue Ridge, Georgia. So I will be here for the next couple of weeks while they are off for a family wedding and vacation and all sorts of things. So yours truly is apparently this is my new career. House sitting and pet sitting. So,
that can become a career.
I know. And I know people who do it for, I'm not going to say for a living, but it's a side hustle, as they say. You make a little extra bucks. So I will be here for I think almost for 2 weeks, pretty much. So, but I have the cabin to myself. Well, me and the puppy dog, of course, and he's a good dog. So we will be walking here on the mountains, getting some good exercise and tons of fresh mountain air. And it's a beautiful time to be here. So yeah, it'll be great.
So now, do you walk the dog, or does the dog have a backyard? Where does the dog do its waste?
Yes, well, he does need to be walked so that he can take care of his business while he is out walking. Yes, he does have, there's a back porch that's fenced in that he can use, but there's a little bit of grass on the side of the yard, but that's discouraged. So we'd rather he do his business out in the wild somewhere where he can have all of nature to himself.
Well, be careful of nature to himself. There's bears out there.
There are bears out here. The funny thing is, 2 or 3 days, I should post. I think I can post it. I think I can. 2 or 3 days before I got here, our friend Miss Vicky sent me, she has one of those, doorbells with the doorbell camera, like everybody has. And she sent me the video of the bear in her driveway, front yard, of like in the middle of the night, because the camera went off to record the bear prowling around the front yard. And I'm like, oh my God. So anyway, there you go. So yours truly not going to be doing a lot of walking out at night. But yeah, the dog and I will walk during the day, and there's people and cars and stuff. I mean, it's not super busy because we're up on the mountain, but it is nice. It's very nice. So there you go.
It's funny that you mentioned like the Ring camera.
Oh, okay.
We have a Ring camera.
Right.
And we got a new one that we put in the window because this new house doesn't have a Ring doorbell yet. We're going to have one installed. It's got an ADT door. It's the same thing.
Right.
We've always had Ring cameras. We have Ring cameras throughout the house and outside and things like that.
Right.
So we had the new one that we, has, since we don't have the Ring doorbell, it shows our front yard, and what's going on in the front.
Right.
Well, obviously, when we hooked it up, something we didn't do right, because our 1 month free subscription ran out last night. This morning, we had fire engines, police cars, all sorts of things in front of our house saying, well, someone must have got sick either across the street or next to us. And the camera did not record a thing. So we have no idea what happened.
So go ahead.
So I'm just saying, so it happened.
Yeah.
I mean, we were awake and saw the vehicles. So we wanted to go look at the footage, and it says, your trial subscription
Expired.
is expired.
I was
First
thinking
day.
first day. I was thinking, see, when you said there were police and fire outside, I thought, well, the camera shut down after the subscription expired and it called the cops for you and the cops were there for your house. So, yeah. So interesting.
So
You don't know what happened.
Yeah, I called Ring and we got it all fixed now. And
Of course.
we have a subscription, for multiple cameras, so we could have as many as we wanted. But for some reason that didn't get on our subscription.
The house I lived in back in Venice, Sarasota, Venice, she had all of that stuff installed as well. And the challenge was because the wind would blow the palm trees would move, and the light sensors would come on and the cameras would start recording and her phone would ding, and like, just for blowing the tree. I'm like, can we please not, but apparently there is some kind of sensitivity that you can like use your finger to draw on the screen to say, okay, don't look at this thing, kind of like those photo apps where you can circle somebody and make them disappear out of a photo. You can kind of do that with this app too. So I'm not going to pretend I know anything about it. It sounds high tech, and I'm pretty good with high tech, but not that stuff.
Well, not that I'm a snoop, but I would have loved to known what was going on out there this morning.
Of course.
Did one of our neighbors die? Did one of our neighbors get sick? I'm not going to go around knocking on the doors. Hey, did somebody die here last night?
Well, I think
my wife
yes?
thinks someone died.
Really?
Because, the fire engine was here.
Yes.
And the cop was here when we first woke up.
Okay.
The fire engine left and the cop stayed. And she says the cop has to stay till whoever comes and gets the body.
Well, so there's your answer. I mean, did an ambulance, not an ambulance, but did a EMT truck show up or something to cart away a body?
Well, it was a fire engine.
Yeah, no, they would send like one of those square,
well, maybe they came. And
okay.
Because usually the fire trucks come and then the ambulance gets here and the cop or what, I don't know what the order, but usually the cop only sticks around with,
till they cart away the body. So you don't know. So we're guessing here. We're guessing.
Knocking on doors, hey, anyone here die last night?
Well, I mean, you're out there. I mean, you're out in the community driving your little golf cart around. You could just ask a couple of questions, ask around.
Might have to do that. Luckily I didn't die.
Hello, we wouldn't be doing this podcast. I'd be doing this podcast alone if it wasn't. Yeah.
I almost died during my birthday.
You did?
Birthday celebration.
I find that hard to believe. I saw the pictures of you at the lobster place.
Can you see my thumb?
I see your thumb. It looks like a burned hot dog. What am I looking at?
You're looking at a big cut.
Oh,
from one of the lobster. They have the claws.
Yes.
And you have to break them. You get a tool that helps you crack them.
Yeah.
Then you got to pull them apart to get the meat out.
You have to. I don't eat lobster, but yes, I know what you're talking about.
So I am here at the lobster. I told you what we're going to do for my birthday. We're going to go to the Boston Lobster Feast. It's kind of funny to say the word Boston this week, but
yes, it is. Yes.
But the Boston Lobster
Feast.
Very first thing, went and got my lobster. You get all you can eat.
Sure.
Crab legs, everything else.
I looked at the menu. It looked awesome.
First thing I got the whole lobster.
Okay.
Ate the tail. And then I go for the claw. Get it open, and I'm prying it open, and I don't realize that I'm bleeding or I cut myself. So I eat the meat out of the lobster, the lobster that I opened. And then I go, because you got to get a new plate every time you go up and get, like a new lobster or crab leg or whatever.
Of course.
So I go up, grab the plate. I'm going up, to get my stuff. And all of a sudden, the way when you get a cheesecake, sometimes you see that little strawberry or raspberry drizzling. I said, oh, This plate must
Oh.
have some kind of drizzle on it. I'm going to have to get a new one. And then I noticed,
It was
especially
you.
since I'm on blood thinners, it's my thumb gushing blood.
Oh man.
So I'm going, oh my,
Gushing? Go wait, gushing?
well, it was coming out pretty good. Let's say that.
Okay.
I
Okay.
go back to the table. My wife goes, what are you back? What? I go, I showed her my plate. I look at the plate. It's full of blood. It's my blood that is full.
Oh man.
So I did get a napkin, wrapped it up, with about 2 or 3 napkins. And I mean, the napkin was getting red as I was like keeping it wrapped, but I just kept it wrapping. Guess what? I kept eating.
Good for you.
I
Good for
never
you.
stopped eating.
Good for you.
Not at that price. I was going to
No.
eat all I could. I don't care if I bled to death right there in the restaurant.
No, this man is a hero. Facing adversity, he still continues to eat. Well, good for you. Yeah, I saw the pictures. Thankfully, there were no bloody thumb pictures. Yeah.
And that
Please
picture
don't
was
feel-
taken when I first got my lobster, and I held it up so proudly.
Yes.
How did I know the
yes.
little dead lobster was going to like do so much damage to my
He
thumb?
was going to have his final revenge.
Oh yeah, the next day my thumb was all black and blue.
Oh,
You still see
wow.
the cut.
Wow.
It did a number on me.
And you didn't notice it when you did it? Like, ow, I've been.
No, not
No.
really. I didn't notice it until
Oh,
I went to
wow.
get my next plate, and then I figured where did all this blood on the plate come from?
See, here's reason number 4 why I don't do lobsters. They fight back. They fight back even when they're dead.
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever do lobster again.
Wow, that's crazy.
Now, I'll
That's,
do
you know,
lobster tail. But see, the
Yeah.
problem with this, you got the whole lobster and none at all.
Right. See, steaks, they don't fight back. They're already dead. All you got to do is cut them up and eat them. Now
I
you
didn't
could,
get
I
hurt
guess,
yesterday.
I guess you could have a steak knife accident, but yeah. Where'd you
Yeah,
go? What was yesterday?
I went for a steak yesterday.
Oh, wow. You're having quite the week here.
Well, that was Wednesday, and then that was Sunday. That was a pretty big spread.
All right. Okay. Good for you. Good for you. So, yeah.
But after my birthday, I did go to our old stomping grounds.
Oh,
I was in Fort Myers.
tell us all about it. How's
I got to
Fort
see an
Myers?
Everblades game.
Oh, very nice.
They're in the Eastern Conference Final. Now, of course, we record this on a Monday.
Yes.
It airs on a Wednesday.
When? Wednesday
So
morning.
I don't know if there's a game tonight. There might even, I don't think there would have been one Sunday. There was one Friday night and Saturday night. And they do it weird because I said, this team that they're playing has like the best record in the ECHL.
Mm-hmm.
And game 1, which we went to, was in Fort Myers. And I go, well, how did they get home ice advantage if
Right.
the other team has the best record in the ECHL?
Is it a best of 7, just like the other?
It's a best of 7.
Okay.
Here's how it works,
Okay.
which I think is kind of a weird way to do it. First 3 games are played in Southwest Florida.
3. Wow.
And then the last 4 games are
Oh.
played away.
Wow.
And there,
Well,
there was
that
some New England
keeps-
team.
I was going to say keeps travel costs down for you
Yeah.
smaller teams that maybe can't afford. Really, all the way from New England? Wow.
I think it was. Yeah, I think that's the New England. I don't know. They were called Growl or something. I don't know. Whoever they were playing had the best. And it was the Eastern Conference Finals.
Nice.
And they won Friday night. And then I saw again, they won Saturday night.
Very nice.
And I said, I don't think they would play 3 nights in a row. They could have, but I don't think they would have.
Well, good luck, Everblades, wherever you are in the standings. There you go.
So that would be
Florida
kind of weird though,
Panthers?
if they go
Yeah.
to if they go there and they're already 3 games up. Now they're already 2 games up.
Terrific.
So we'll see how that pans out. This is actually a show where we can make predictions and people will probably know how the prediction comes out, especially if we talk
Yeah.
about the NBA. There's
Oh my
a
God.
possibility, which has never, ever happened in the Eastern or Western Conference Finals, where
Right.
someone had swept the series.
I
And I got
watched-
brooms out for
yeah.
both of them.
I do too. I watched of course, I watched the Miami. Now, again, as we record this Monday morning. So last night, Sunday night, I watched the Heat dismantle the Boston Celtics. It was not pretty. It was not close. It was not competitive. And to listen, and I stayed up after the game. Normally I just turn it off and go right to bed, but I thought I got to hear this. So I stayed up to watch Shaq and Charles Barkley and Kenny Smith. And they were like, oh my God, this wasn't even a game. It wasn't even close. It was entertaining to listen to Shaq and Charles kind of, lay it on to the Celtics there. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to stay up for that. I said, this is going to be great to listen to those guys talk about this game.
Yeah.
But there was like about 8 minutes left. I said, there is no reason to stay up and watch this unless it's just to watch the wrap-up show. And I went to bed.
It was. Yeah, that you didn't miss a thing. Yeah, it ended up, I don't remember the final score, but and as everybody said, as Charles said, it wasn't that close. It was like at the end I think the water boy was playing. I think the kid who sweeps the floor was playing. I think, at the end there, it was just whatever.
Well, whoever wanted to play, 8 or 9 minutes left, I think they were taking out the stars.
Yeah, absolutely, positively. So you're right. So what you said at the beginning is absolutely true. This would be the first time ever in the history of the NBA that you could have two sweeps of East and West championship series. That's unbelievable. And I think Boston has a chance to win next time. LA they're toast. Put a fork in them. I'm sorry. I mean, I love you, LeBron. I do, but it's just you're old, and the rest of the team, you can't carry him anymore. You just can't. So, Anthony Davis, he's pretty good. But anyway, long story short, I think the Lakers are done.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. So your prediction is, and everyone will know this come Wednesday,
right?
Your prediction is the Celtics will win.
Well, that's a good question. I said I think they have a chance. Do I think they will win? Not if they're playing like they've been playing. Honestly, I think for history, just for the fun of history, I think I'd like to see the two sweeps. I think I would like to see two sweeps. That would be fun. But if anybody has a chance of the two teams, LA, no chance. Boston, small chance. So take that so I'm not going out on a limb here is what I'm saying. So how about you? You're going for the sweeps, right?
I probably would think that I think Miami will want to close it out at home.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So they'll probably have blood in their eyes. So I'm thinking they're going to go for it,
but not on their thumbs.
Now not on their thumbs. But now the other game, the one tonight,
right. LA
is in LA.
Okay.
And I'm thinking they may do everything they can not to get swept.
Of course.
And then the other thing is I don't think anybody ever lays off any, but I think I would rather win a championship on my home court.
Oh, okay. I hear what you're saying.
So I'm kind of going with the opposite. I'm thinking maybe the Lakers pull it out tonight, and then I think the Heat close it out tomorrow night.
Okay. Well, and as you said, by the time this podcast drops on a Wednesday morning, everybody will know if we were stupid or not.
Yeah. Now, I still do believe that both teams will, the Heat.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and that was the other historical statistic is that no team has ever come back from 0-3. No team anywhere, anytime.
So that could be, that could be something that would happen, but we won't have that answer yet until next podcast.
Right. Well, we'll check in and see how we're doing on that next one there. And same, and NHL too hockey stuff, is pretty one-sided as well. So we'll see how that goes. So anyway,
I don't know, but I saw a very, very funny Facebook post, because the Heat is just cleaning the clock with the Celtics.
Yes.
And the Florida Panthers beat the Boston Bruins to move on in the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs.
Yes.
So somebody said, attention, Boston, never play Florida teams again.
There you go. And then if you want to go back to football, Tom Brady came from Boston to Tampa Bay. So yeah, it's apparently the highway just All the talent just comes south, and there you go, lands in South Florida somewhere. Love that. Well, that's great.
Yep.
That's great.
And what was really nice about it, it was a fan that I know is a Boston fan. They're a Boston-y, and so they're really into Boston sports. And they were the ones that made that post. Attention, Boston teams. Don't
Love
play
that.
Florida teams.
Love that. So anyway, how did you've been there? How did Fort Myers look post storm?
Well, I didn't get, believe it or not, I didn't get out this much. I stayed a lot with my son.
Right.
But on a past podcast, I talked about going out to Fort Myers Beach. And that was just a month ago. I went back to Fort Myers Beach. It had been like over 6 months since Ian hit. And that's what we're talking about, folks. The big hurricane that hit Southwest Florida, our old stomping grounds where we had so much success with the BJ and Bill show on WOLZ.
Yes.
But yeah, I went out to Fort Myers Beach, and it was just 6 months later, still just nothing but devastation. And like I told you, we drove down the main thoroughway, and before it was businesses, condos. You didn't see a whole lot of the Gulf of Mexico.
Right.
Now, this time we drove down, and of course, we saw lots and lots of the Gulf of Mexico.
Right. Where normally you would be looking into condos and storefronts and stuff like that, and they're just not there anymore. Just not there.
It's just all gone.
That's amazing. I do want to, there is a part of me that wants to see it, that wants to see it for myself. And maybe one of these days I'll have to take a trip down, a little road trip, but well, who knows? Who knows? All right. So what else is happening, Mr. Odom?
That's about all that's happening. Well, another thing, and again, we record this on Mondays and it comes out on Wednesdays.
Yes.
But today the wife and I have, we have on the back of our minds scheduled one of her favorite bands going to be playing at Epcot today. That's Casting Crowns. It's a Christian rock group.
Okay.
And they're supposed to be at Epcot this evening.
Wow.
And the way the weatherman looks, at least for Central Florida, after about 1 or 2 o'clock, rain.
Right.
So not sure if we're going to be going to that concert or not.
I have a friend who lives literally up by you, closer to the Villages, but in Central Florida. She and a girlfriend drove to Tampa Saturday night to see Ed Sheeran at Raymond James Stadium, outdoors. So, 50,000, 60,000 people to see Ed Sheeran. And they got there at like 5:30, 6 o'clock so they could get their parking space and get in and get it all. And it rained. But then it cleared just in time for the show. But everybody was already soaked. But she said it was still a fabulous show and sent me some pictures and all that. I will admit, I remembered knowing or hearing the name Ed Sheeran, but you couldn't play me a song of his and I would go, oh yeah, Ed Sheeran, I know that. But I guess was he on American Idol or The Voice, or he was one of those guys, wasn't he? Or do you know? I see that look on your face like you don't know either.
Yeah, I don't know. But now it's really kind of funny you mentioned that, because there was kind of I don't know if you'd call it a documentary or something on Ed Sheeran or Sharon, or however you say his name.
Sheeran. Yeah, I think he's Irish or something like that. One of those good-looking young redheaded kids. Yeah.
But Amy, which my son is with, the baby mama,
right?
She's a big fan, and she was watching some kind of documentary on him while I was there. And I'd heard of him, but it was a very, very interesting, whatever it was. I don't know. It was, I think it was on Netflix. Pretty interesting to watch.
Maybe I'll have to look it up or something, just so I can speak as if I know something about this guy, because I like zero. Literally, she sent me a YouTube video of one of his songs, and I'm like, oh, it's a very nice song. Never heard it before in my life, but it's
I will give you another piece of nugget that I knew before I saw this documentary.
Yes,
that he also did a duet on the CMA Awards with Luke Combs. And he has told people that he is very interested in making the switch or making the turn into country music.
He's interesting. Interesting. I mean, it's not, I don't think it's that big of a transition these days. I mean, a lot of country music kind of sounds very pop rock kind of thing anyway. So I guess you just have to work on his Nashville accent and then he's good to go.
Well, I don't know if he can do that with the accent that he has now.
No, I don't think so. No, that's it. Yeah. Why would an Irish kid want to become a country music star? I don't.
But I think
I
think Irish music is really like storytelling.
Yes, it is.
And country music is also storytelling. So if you're good at storytelling in your songs, country is an obvious choice for you.
There you go. Tell it to Taylor Swift. There you go. So there you go. Yeah, that's good. Okay, cool. Very good. All right, onward
and wayward there. We talk. Oh, here's something, because this is the reason why, and I don't have a problem with this. This is the reason why we were in Fort Myers.
Okay.
My wife went to a graduation party. One of her coworkers she used to have up there, her daughter graduated. Congratulations, gets to wear the cap and gown and everything.
Right.
That's what it's all about. What is your feeling? And I know I'm going to probably get hate mail on this. But when it comes to the kindergarten graduations, and they put them in cap and gowns.
Oh, please.
See, we feel the same
already. You could feel where this is going already. Yes.
And it's like, and I've even heard this, like, in, okay, you're graduating elementary school, and the same thing. There's schools that, cap and gown. No, when you graduate high school, you graduate college, you get a cap and gown.
Yes.
When you graduate kindergarten, first grade, seventh grade, you don't get squat, people.
You go to Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
Right.
Go to Chuck E. Cheese, celebrate, call it a day.
Absolutely. Yeah, what I have seen, and now let me first, before I get myself into trouble, like you.
You've already done that.
I know. Let me just say that I am not a parent and I have no children. So my opinion is totally valueless here. It doesn't matter what I think. But one of my favorite bumper sticker slogans that I saw a long time ago, and it's not quite the graduation thing, but it's like, okay, my kid played on the little league team. We came in last, but everybody gets a trophy, right? Or everybody gets an award, or everybody gets something, no matter whether you come in first or last. And that was, when everybody is special, nobody is special.
And
so, yeah,
I think that's just our generation.
Yes.
Yeah. When if everybody gets a trophy,
right?
Why is
it's
there
meaningless?
Yeah,
it's right. It's meaningless. It becomes meaningless. Yes. And I know him on. He was on ESPN for a long time. Now he's on Fox Sports Radio. Colin Cowherd, the Herd, a sports talk show guy, but he also talks about life sometimes. And I remember one day him telling his kid, he said, "Life is not fair. You don't want it to be. You don't want life to be fair because, like you said, if everybody gets an award, then it's meaningless. If everybody gets a trophy, then it means nothing. If you, my child, work your butt off and become great at something, you will be rewarded for that. There's prizes at the end of the day for those people who do the work and put in the time. I mean, Steph Curry is not the greatest ever because he just has some innate talent. No, he's in the gym practicing that shot every day for hours. He is he's fabulous. LeBron, pick your sport, pick your superstar. Tom Brady is the first guy at the practice and the last guy to leave. He is the GOAT for a reason. He worked his butt off. So anyway, I guess that's my belief is if I had kids, I would be telling them the same thing. Life ain't fair. You don't want it to be, because if you work, you will be more successful than people who do not. And that applies to everything.
I think my kids were right at the borderline where, you kept score.
Right.
the winners got the trophy. I don't know though. Maybe when my son was in Little League, everybody got it. I can't remember, but he was on a good team, so they would have got a trophy anyway, probably.
Right.
But I mean, I can't remember for sure. But I think that like maybe my daughter was in that, but she really wasn't in sports or anything.
Right.
So I think maybe my son was like the borderline right there, where because I know I went to one of my grandson, or I think it was my grandson, who now though is, learning to be a pilot. But this is like when he was like 6 or 7.
Right.
He was on the way what they call it, wayward basketball or whatever. It's like little kids get to learn how to play basketball.
Right.
And they're like 7, 8, 9 years old. And
Cool.
they're basically running around shooting the ball. Every parent in the facility knew the score.
Right.
The kids knew the score. But when you said something like, they're winning, they don't keep score. What do you mean they don't keep score? I go, what do you mean they don't? No, they don't keep score. They just play. I go,
Play.
you ask any kid on that team, because they would even do that. They go, because you would ask that, like if your kid, lost. Oh, that's such a good name. Yeah, but we lost. No, you didn't. There was no score. No, we lost.
That's interesting. And I've heard of that, where they play these games for the kids. And I guess, well, I'm not a parent. I don't have kids. So again, I'm just making this up off the top of my head. I don't know is that a good thing? Is that not a good thing? I guess maybe because in life, let's face it, life keeps score. It doesn't matter what you're doing or sports or what. BJ and Bill, every 6 months when that rating book came out, we kept score, right? We knew the boss would say, hey, you won, or hey, you came in second, or hey, what? It matters. And no matter how much you try and say, oh, just have fun. Oh, just have fun. That's great. Just play for the fun of it. Sure. But in real life, where it matters, the score at the end of the game, at the end of the day, at the end of the month, how many cars did you sell? How were your radio ratings? How blah, 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 blah. It matters. It counts. So there's a balance there. There really is. And I don't know how to fix that, but I'm not a parent.
So let's count on the BJ and Bill show right now. Let's make it count. Okay.
Let's make it count.
Let's make it count right here, because this is what counts with the BJ and Bill podcast. Download. Tell your friends to download. Everybody download.
That's right. Because the more downloads we get, we're keeping score with downloads.
Yeah. And we become more popular in the podcast world. Also, very important to raise us in the podcast world. Ratings as far as 5-star, 3-star, make it 5-star, baby. Everybody, go to your favorite pod, location.
Podcast app. Yep.
It was a 5-star rating. Write a little review.
Absolutely.
I notice we have less reviews than we do people that have given us 5 stars. More people have given us 5 stars than has given us reviews.
That's okay too.
But hey, we'll take either one.
Yes, we will.
5 stars, and if you don't want to give us a review, and that's helping us move up the podcast ladder. And to really tell how we're moving up that ladder, we're going to take a break here, and they're going to play a commercial, and make sure you listen to it in its entirety.
And we will be right back. Welcome back. I'm Bill Stevens. That's BJ Odom. I am broadcasting from a remote location, as we said. If it sounds a little different, next week I'll get the microphone all set up, but I will see if I can clean up our audio a little bit here as we go, but we're fine. We're all good. And let me just remind you, as BJ said before the break, if you would like to comment on the show or, add your 2 cents worth, we are always looking for comments and suggestions, and but especially the reviews and the likes on your podcast platform. So if you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you happen to be. But if you want to just say hi, you can reach out to us at BJ and Bill Podcast. Remember, spell out the AND, BJ and Bill Podcast at gmail.com, or find us on Facebook at BJ and Bill Podcast. There you go. I was going to ask you before the break, we were talking about kids in sports nowadays and how a lot of times they just get their, little awards for participation and all that sort of thing. And you were talking about your son, and that got me curious about, because he's a rock star now. He's like doing this business of his, and he's, just totally crushing it with the podcast playground and a couple of other businesses that he has. And I know it didn't come from dad.
Oh, come on. You did too. When you got talent,
So,
you got talent.
I'm curious, how did he get to be where he is at? What was the mindset that he came? I mean, I don't even know what question to ask, but have you talked to him? Well, or not talked to him. Have you seen him, the way he works and all that? I mean, what do you think it is that he's got that some people, some people got it, some people don't. And he's obviously got something going with business that he just loves and he's passionate about, and it works for him. And I'm curious what that looks like, or where that came from.
Well, he was on another podcast
Right.
from a radio consultant. And I listened to that podcast, and I don't know, but as listening to that podcast, I would explain it this way.
Mm-hmm.
It was from failures.
What do you mean?
He had failures in his life and
Okay.
failures with his company.
Right.
And he learned to correct those failures.
Of course.
And it seems
Well,
like the failures motivating him to learn more, explore more, and,
right.
to try to overcome the failures. And I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh, it makes great sense. No, it makes
And
perfect sense.
And I know I'm not that type of person, unfortunately.
Well,
I mean, maybe I've learned from a few of my failures,
sure.
but he's constantly, and he's a big research person on his own.
Right.
Like if I've got a problem, I'll call somebody and say, I got a problem. Help me. He will like if he's got some kind of problem, he will research it out.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing that they always say in business, which I mean, I have my pizza shop. That was kind of a failure and kind of a win, but more of it was a win, but yet a failure because it didn't go anywhere really.
Right.
But he, the old phrase, you got to spend money to make money.
Sure. Of course.
That's his philosophy. And he spends a hell of a lot of money to make a hell of a lot of money, if that makes sense too.
It makes perfect sense. No, it really does. I mean, it's just, I was thinking, like if you're making an investment in something, even if you're just buying a company stock or something, obviously you have to have the money to buy the stock, to get the return, to make the money on the, So yes, in any business, it takes money to make money, of course. I mean, some things you can do yourself and some things you can invest your own time in, because time equals money, money equals time. But there comes a point like your son could have done the whole podcasting thing by himself, but you're limited. You only have so many hours in the day. So he had to hire people. He had to get more equipment. So yes, I get the, spend money to make money. Absolutely. I get that. But what you said first early on was interesting about learning from mistakes and learning from failures and stuff like that. And I don't remember where I saw it. Might have been a YouTube video or something like that, about how a lot of people, and I think I'm one of them, because I can see that in myself, that how a lot of people are sometimes afraid to start something because they're worried about, well, what happens if it doesn't work? What happens if I fail? What happens if I look stupid in front of my friends and all of that? And yes, any business, unless you're Elon Musk, and I'm sure he had his failings early on as well. Yeah, you're going to fail. You're going to miss more shots than you take. Ask anybody, right? You're going to strike out more times than you get a hit, whatever. But you learn from those and you keep going. And then eventually you get to the point where it's like, okay, I don't make that mistake anymore. I've, learned from that. I've grown from that. So Boy, I didn't think we'd turn this into a personal development podcast today, but I get it. No, and that's important. I mean, I like that. I mean, I read a lot of those, interesting personal development and personal growth books and stuff like that. And I think now, I mean, geez, it's only taken me 66 years. I think I'm finally to the point where it's starting to be like, yeah, who cares what other people think? You could try something. If it doesn't work, okay, fine. Try something else, or try doing it different, or tweak something and try again. So there you go. That's our.
Well, a lot of these, and I may be wrong, but a lot of these like multimillionaires, it wasn't always their first swing at the bat.
Of course, you're right.
Usually they have to take quite a few swings before they,
right,
they make the hit.
Right.
And
or it goes up and down and up and down. Yeah.
Yeah, I think my son's kind of done that too. He's taken some big swings and missed.
Right.
And he's had some, and he's been like, down 3-0 in a 7-game series. And I don't know if he's come back to win it, I guess. I don't know if you'd say win it because it's continuing.
Right.
But it's like now it's more of a 3-game, series apiece, Now there's only one more game to worry about. I don't know if that's a good analogy or not, but
it all makes sense. It's all about staying in the game. And again, we've been doing a lot of sports analogies today, but it kind of fits. It's like, yeah, you're going to miss shots. You're going to miss whatever. You're going to lose games. You're going to whatever. Just keep trying it. And again, without worrying too much about what other people are going to think about you, because most people are not having the success that you're looking for. And here we go with the personal development stuff again. It's interesting how we got off on that. Most people in the world, they're just getting by. They're just doing their job or going to work 9 to 5, and then they come home and watch TV, and it's rinse and repeat until they retire, hopefully. But if you really want to make a splash with things, yeah, you got to take chances. And that's what you got to take chances and not worry too much about the outcome at the beginning, because yeah, you're going to fail. Just keep trying. What the heck?
And what he does too, he's got basically, if you, it's all in the audio, division. He started out with a little country internet radio station. Met his partner Shaquille O'Neal.
Right.
Started another, internet radio station with him.
Yep.
And the reasoning, I mean, and that almost failed 2 or 3 times, where it was like on life support. And but now it's successful. And once it became successful, he said, well, I don't know how long this ride will last. So I need to be prepared. So then he got into the podcasting world. And that has grown. And his next endeavor, which we've talked about before, but it's not completed yet, Audio Swamp.
Audio Swamp.
That's the name of the company, which basically is going to be, music that you can buy. It has no copyright infringements. You can either buy it outright, and what his plans are, if it becomes successful, and who knows, it's another bat that he's swinging. Right. Like people that make movies. Like, hey, sure. I need for you to produce, a soundtrack music for this particular movie. Right. I do commercials. I need for you to, I need to buy music for this commercial. Right. And, the list goes on and on and on. It might even be a motivational speaker. I do motivational speaking, and I need music, building, like I can really, motivate
intro
people.
Music. Yes. When I come out on stage, I want that. Ta-da! Yes, exactly.
And so basically that's they're putting a library together now. And of course, they will continue to build it, but it's not going to go, I guess, as you would say, it's not going to go out to the public probably for another 2, 3, 4 months.
Okay.
And then, will it be a slow, or will it be an instant hit, or will it be a failure? He does not know yet.
But I'm sure he's done a little research. Like you said, he's a researcher. He's probably talked to people, or probably said, hey, if I did this, is this something you would be interested in? And he's probably, or obviously, gotten enough people to say, oh yeah, we need that, to say, oh, might be a business there.
And then, he's met people along the line.
Right.
As all of this is, developed. So and I don't want to throw out names, but, he's putting a podcast together for a famous, I would say he was probably a B, maybe he was an A artist at one time, but a B artist who is putting a podcast together.
Is it a name we would know?
I'll be sure.
Okay.
I
know that. I've heard that name.
So he's been working with him, helped him put a studio together, to do his podcast and everything else. And he's played some of this music for this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying, I know people. He goes, I'm going to get you in touch with the people I know, because this is good stuff. And I think they can help you get to where you want to get.
There you go.
So,
Perfect.
whether it'll pan out or not, time will tell. Whether there'll be 2 sweeps this week, time will tell.
Well, for those who don't know, just a little tiny background on that. When BJ and I were doing the radio thing, you would get, the salesperson would come to you and go, here, I want this commercial. It's a car dealer, it's a restaurant, it's a bar on the beach, whatever. 60 seconds worth of copy, which is the fancy word to just say the script of the commercial. And then usually in the back of the studio somewhere, there was a rack, there was a bookshelf that had 100 different, back in the day, records, vinyl records, and they were literally all just 60-second and 30-second little music tracks. And you would listen through a few of them and go, oh, I like that piece of music right there. So then you could play the music while you read the script. And that's, virtually every commercial you've ever heard on the radio with the music behind it. That's the kind of thing we're talking about here. So, you don't think of it. It's one of those things that it's like, it's almost invisible to the end person, to the guy listening to the radio, driving to work or whatever, but it's everywhere. It's everywhere. So yeah, I think it sounds like there's a business there.
Same with
movies. Absolutely. And those guys that do movie soundtracks, that's, there's a little guy called, John, what's his name, with, Star Wars, little movies like that, that came out with music. You might have heard some of his stuff. Yeah. So yeah, it's a big deal. It's a really big deal. Yeah. Well, good. I hope we'll find out, won't we? We'll have to figure out how it's going for him. Yeah. Love it.
Now we just need to motivate us.
Well, yes, we do. I'm going to be at my undisclosed location in Blue Ridge, Georgia for 2 weeks. I am going to be doing a little bit of online class stuff and studying stuff and all that, since we can't be delivering pizza from Blue Ridge, Georgia. So I've got some time on my hands for the next couple of weeks, and I want to spend it doing a little research, doing a little study, doing a little learning, and actually putting it to work. Because I'm great. I'm just going to speak for myself. I don't know about you. I am great at I love learning new stuff. So if somebody says, oh, here's a 10-hour video course on how to do something, I don't care if it's creating a podcast or cooking a pot roast. If there's a video about it, on how to learn how to do it, I'm going to watch. I'm going to absorb that. I'm going to be like, wow, I know everything about making a pot roast now. Am I actually going to do it? That's where Bill has his, shall we say, challenge in life. It's like, okay, you know it. Now go do it. Ooh, I have to go do it? Ooh, that sounds hard.
I would say my challenge is I'm a dreamer. Well, I can dream big.
Oh, sure.
But can I get to my dream? That's a whole new. I dreamed it, and we've talked about this with radio, small market, medium market, large market, major markets. As you climb up market size, you make more money.
Yep.
My focus and my dream was always to make it, to a big top, market.
Yep.
Never done it. I worked in a few major markets part-time, thinking, well, hey, I'll be there part-time and I'll make this. And then when you find out the guys that are there part-time have also been in that market for 20 years, and they're doing the same thing that you came there to do. And you're going, well, I'm way down at the bottom of the mountain in this town. So the only way really to do it is to get discovered and, have them bring you up there as a big guy from the beginning. So, speaking of failures, I've had plenty of failures.
Sure.
I just don't know if I capitalized on them. Very good.
Well, some can be capital. Like if you're in business, like your son, if you're in a business and you try something and it doesn't work, you can say, all right, what can I learn from that? Can I do it slightly differently? Can I talk to a different person? Can I get a different angle on it? In our business on the air in radio, if your ratings are awful or you fail at something, it's not something you can really tweak a whole heck of a lot because you're still who you are. And until you get to a different radio station with different music or a different form, I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying it's a little different. It's a little different from a regular, quote unquote, regular business.
And the problem can be too, you can be on an elevation and then a management position, especially in broadcasting, changes.
Yes.
And that changes the whole outlook and direction of everything.
We're laughing because for the folks who don't know, in the radio business, that's such a cliche. It's like a meme. It's like a meme on Facebook nowadays. It's like when the manager comes in and tells you we're going in a different direction, that the next sentence is you're fired.
It's never you're fired. It's just we're going in a different direction and we need to let you go. I don't think I've ever said you're fired. It's always been, I've never had like a Donald Trump, you're fired.
Right.
It's always been more like it's just not working out,
Right.
I think one of the worst lines of that I've ever been told, and I worked in Greenville, South Carolina, and it changed management, new program director.
Right.
And he came to me and he says, you might want to start looking for a job because we're going to make a change. You didn't say I was fired.
Yeah.
I go, well, what do I need to do, to improve or get to where you want me to be? I just would be looking for another job.
And how much notice did he give you? I mean, how far in advance was that?
Well, I think I've told the story on the air. Remember when I told you the story of how I came back to Fort Myers to do mornings on WOLZ?
Yes.
I got a few phone calls with a few offers.
Yes.
And said, no, I'm happy here. And I got an offer for a little bit more. And no, I'm happy here. And I got 3 of them all together. And each one was for a little more money.
Nice.
And then I got that little speech that I just told you. And I made the call saying, hey, that offer you gave me, is it?
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it. Is it still a good offer? Yes, it is. Well, at that point, I went and told the program director of let's just say the gentleman who told me that I needed to be looking for another job.
Yes.
I told him I was supposed to have been there. I was supposed to be there, I think, by 11 noon, something like that. I did afternoon shift, maybe 1 o'clock. I think like 10 o'clock the next day or that day. I said, I'm not going to be in today. I took another job. I did not give him very much notice, and it did come back to bite me in the butt because I did tell you the operations manager, who was I'm not talking about a big guy, but I mean, big in this industry.
A big deal. Yes.
Yeah. I ran into him at a convention and he asked me why I left in the middle of the night. And I told him the story. He said, I didn't know that. He said, you should have come and talked to me.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well,
but a failure.
Your life would have been your life would have been
maybe
very
it was
different.
not a failure because then the BJ and Bill show took off and we had many years of great success.
Yes, we
as
did.
Our morning show.
All to be grateful for. That's funny because here I'm, visiting my friends here, Vicky and her husband, and we got into a conversation about high school last night. Vicky's husband he went to a little tiny town school up in Maine or something like that. And he actually still communicates with people he knew in like 8th grade and stuff like that. Crazy, crazy. But we got into a discussion about high school, and I had a moment like that too, because in the middle of high school, literally before my junior year of high school, my father had a job that moved him from where we were at the time, which was New Jersey, South Jersey, back to Ohio, back to the Cleveland area where we were originally from. And literally in the middle of high school, which is about the most, I always thought the worst thing you could do to a kid, because in high school, you're making friends, first girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. And I said that last night during our talk. I said, boy, high school, I said, I would have married Celeste, and I would have been living in New Jersey, and I would have been happy and whatever. And somebody said, wow, you remember the girlfriend from high school? I said, well, I remember a name. But yeah, that's how things work, is like the craziest stuff that you think back on it and go, wow, that was huge or traumatic or big or crazy or stupid or whatever. But it all works out. It all ends up working out in the end, and things go along the way they're supposed to. So yeah, wouldn't have been any BJ and Bill show had you stayed there, or if I'd have stayed in Phoenix, Arizona, where I came from. So yeah, who knows what would have happened.
And I had a similar experience too, because I moved going into my junior year of high school. Of course, I didn't move, a few states over. I moved like a county over, but it was in, obviously new town,
different school. Yeah.
Different school, new kids. And, I would say from my hometown to where we moved was probably about 30 miles, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that at least the first half of, maybe not my junior year,
mm-hmm.
I spent a lot of time going back and forth, like, hey, I'll be up there this weekend, Saturday night, and I'd go back to my old friends, and then I'd, come back and meet new. And as I met new friends, less time, taking that 30-minute trip back, to see old girlfriends that I was, and stuff like that. It just kind of slowly tinkled away, I guess.
Tinkled away. That's
trickled away.
Most of life is tinkling away. I love that. That's the way it works. Yes, I get it.
But what's really funny with me now, see, you didn't have the same experience because you moved like states away.
Right.
So it was like over and out.
Right.
There is still time. And when speaking of Facebook and, reconnecting with old Facebook friends, or somebody wanting to friend you, or somebody liking something, I have to sit and go, oh man, did I know this person from Rensselaer? Or did I know that person back in, West Central? Because that was their school, West Central. This one was Rensselaer High School. And sometimes I got to ask myself, where did I know that? Was it like my, my freshman, sophomore year, or was it my junior, senior year?
And how's the memory working on that one, Grandpa?
Well, I haven't had it in a long time, but I mean, there was a lot of times like, oh man, do I know that? And then I look at it, but then one time I said, well, wait, I know I knew them in the other place, and they have a Rensselaer address. They say they're from Rensselaer. Oh, they moved. They originally were from Maderaeville, and then they moved to Rensselaer. So yes, I did know them in that school.
Good. Yeah. And everybody has those stories. Well, I shouldn't say everybody, but lots of people have those stories. So you move around, you have different people, different places, different everything. Yeah. I have been, I'm not going to say reconnecting, but I have been on Facebook. My college, Ohio University, has the broadcasting school that I attended has quite a few people that are active in that, posting pictures and where are they now and that sort of thing. So yeah, I should probably do a little better job of staying in touch there, but that's not a big deal for me. I know it is for some people, staying in touch with old friends from 20, 30, 40 years ago, but it's just not that big a deal for me. I don't know. That's a character flaw, I guess. I don't know.
My character flaw is, I think, because I was very outgoing in school, very outgoing in my early life, and then I kind of slowly, and so especially now that I'm not in comedy, because comedy became like a big, kind of a big little deal. Community too. I had friends there. I don't do comedy. I had some friends in radio. Don't do radio. And now we live in this 55 plus community. My wife's trying to get out and she's getting to know people, but it's weird.
Not so much.
It's kind of like I want a friend, but I'm not interested in meeting anybody. Explain that to me. I don't have any friends. I want a friend, but I'm not really excited about going out and meeting a friend.
I mean, they must have activities and stuff in the community where you're at. Do you not want to go and sign up for bridge or cornhole or whatever?
But maybe this happened to you too when you were married. It seems like the people that my wife run with,
all right,
and the people I run with, I have nothing in common with the husbands of the people she runs with.
Oh, I see.
Of course, I run with comedians and crazy people, and so she definitely doesn't have anything in common with the people I run around with. So, there's only probably in our entire life, there's only maybe 2 or 3 couples that we've actually gelled, and we got close to. Both of us felt
right
close to,
right.
But besides that, most people she hangs out with is like, you just go by yourself. I don't need to spend the day with their husband. She's saying, you just go be with your friends. I don't need to go spend the day.
I don't need to go. But see, it's easy for her because she knows you don't have any friends.
Yeah, no, I don't have any friends. So
just you and the dog at the house. There you go.
Gotta find a friend. I would say I would say right now, my closest friend, and I haven't seen him in probably 2 months, but only because he lives in the area, would be our old boss, Pete Paquette from Groovin 102.9.
Really? And have you gotten together with him? I remember.
Yeah, we've had lunch a few times. He
awesome.
Works at a station in Orlando.
Oh, really?
Actually, he's an operations manager. I think they have 3. He works for Salem Broadcasting, which is basically based all around, they have a news talk station, but it's very conservative. They have a Christian it's a very Christian company. And
right.
So I would say of anybody that if I run around with anybody, it would be him.
And have you has he or you brought up the idea of doing some work for him, or is that not interested interested for you?
When I first moved up here, we did.
Yep.
And then Winter Haven, where his station is actually on the other side of Orlando.
Oh, okay.
I'm not really that crazy about driving through town. No. So, but there was talks of that, and then I got the job that I got in Lakeland, and now he knows I'm not working. I told him I did miss it, but the reason why I'm not really working is because these blood pressure issues and other things. I just don't feel like I can devote myself, like, hey, every Sunday I'm going to be there because I don't know if I'm going to wake up. Blood pressure is going to be low. I'm not going to feel good. So that's why I don't have any friends. I just stay at home anyway. Because
you just stay at home and work on your health issues, huh? Okay.
Yeah, I got a podcast. That's my life, my podcast.
I hear that, brother. That's great. That's awesome. All right. I didn't start the class. Oh, we're coming down to the hour again. We filled another hour. What is it?
I was going to say,
it's been like Dr. Phil today with BJ and Bill and Dr. Phil on how to improve your life out there. Boy, this is awesome.
I might have to get a couch put in here by next week.
I know. If you want a little life coaching session, we are available for a small fee. So feel free to give us a call. That's terrific. All right. So by the time this podcast comes out, you will know if we were right or wrong about our NBA and NHL predictions. So you will get a lot of good information. And next week we will either be proud as peacocks or well, hat in hand or whatever the downside of that is.
Well, I think no matter what next week,
yes,
when we come to the broadcast, we can say going into the NBA finals will be the Miami Heat and the Denver Nuggets.
One way or the other.
We're not going to be talking about those 2 teams next week.
I am sure. I am 100% sure that BJ Odom's prediction is correct. So we'll find out for sure, but we'll talk about it all next week. So
I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure.
I
never say never.
Never say never. That was a James Bond movie, among others. So very good. Love that.
And I don't want to say things like this, but if God, please don't let it happen. If Jimmy Butler would happen to break a leg,
Yeah, don't even put that out there.
in the first 2 minutes of the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think, I don't know though. They still got some players that are really stepping up, but
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler
Yeah.
is that team.
Yeah, he pretty much is. But so cancel, erase. We're not wishing on bad luck on anybody, nor do we want to, because we are enjoying the Heat beating up on the Boston Celtics, and we will have full details of that next week.
And I want the Heat to stay in it because then I'll finally have a team to root for. Well, the sad thing is I was rooting for the Lakers and the Heat and figured, well, they're both going to lose. And now
Here
at least
you
I'm
are.
still rooting for the Heat, but I don't think I can do a whole lot more with my Lakers.
No, I think they're pretty much done.
And they were the ones that beat my team anyway. So I don't.
Yeah, they beat your Warriors. Sorry about that.
They can
Okay.
just go straight to where. There's a bunch of hockey.
Well, they're already in Los Angeles, so it can't get much worse. All right, everybody, have yourself a great week out there. Enjoy your sports or whatever you're doing. It's beautiful weather where we're at, so we will talk to you next week. Until then, it is just up to BJ Odom to say,
See ya!